This is film 2.
Is there a name for it?
No, well, it's just called Will's Flood Project, I think. This is pretty simple.
Hiya, I'm Will. As you can see, in Gloucester, we normally have lots of nice sunshine and it's really nice weather in the summer. But last year, on my birthday, the 20th of July, well, basically, the kind of day of my birthday kind of started off as like most birthdays do. You kind of wake up and everything, check the news and everything. We're kind of told that there was going to be some bad weather. It started off really nice, hardly any clouds in the sky like a day like today. But then over the distance there kind of came some nasty looking storm clouds. Being the kind of like usual, it's going to be fine and everything kind of attitude. Yeah, we kind of went out anyway in the cars and everything. About after kind of half an hour, like 45 minutes, the rain not stopping, it was kind of like getting beyond a joke. Basically, that's when we kind of ran into the problems of roads being blocked with water and really not being able to get past and kind of being a bit cut off, which was just like ruined my birthday. William Barnes, who's also in our group,
yes.
he had his actual birthday properly ruined because mine was bad enough that he couldn't get around to any like town.
He couldn't have a wash.
I know, he couldn't even wash on his birthday.
Yeah, it was crap.
He couldn't even have anyone use his toilets when he had a house party, which I can imagine got a bit smelly. All around Gloucester there are several kind of steep hills and valley edges, so that kind of probably helped the water come down so quickly from raining in the Cotswold Hills where we kind of are at the minute. So it's probably what reduced the lag time in geographical terms. Here we are at Watery Lane. It's the drainage point for a lot of the hills from Painswick, which is to my right where we've just been. There's a lot of water coming down even on a dry day, so you can only imagine when the actual floods came that it was proper terrible. We're just down at the docks at the minute, which is kind of another place that kind of got really badly hit by the flooding. Got a large kind of like walled area which actually burst its banks when the actual flooding happened. Eventually did get home and everything, so we kind of just chilled out at my house, had a few beers and everything. Didn't really get to go out and have the night that I planned. I'm kind of glad that it wasn't as bad as it could have been, if that makes sense.
At least you didn't like lose your house.
No, thank God.
That would have been a pretty crappy birthday.
Yeah, it would have been devastating, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the anniversary of the flood coming up in 2 months, I'm just going to have my fingers crossed that it just doesn't rain again. People in the days and weeks afterwards, obviously you kind of suffered a bit more because it kind of actually, the secondary effects kind of kicked in where you actually had no running water. They had all the Bowsers and stuff like that, I guess.
If you know that this flood crisis is actually becoming something more than just some flooded land somewhere, then the internet is one of the first things that people put on thinking, what's happening? Is it going to affect me?
But there was also, I think, a change in the way of, people's expectations, if you like. That I felt that what the internet has brought is a belief that at a click of a button, you can find out what is happening.
We had all the news about the Bowsers, Severn Trent Water having to put Bowsers out because they're turning water off, so we needed bottled water distribution. And it just took off from there, so for about 2 weeks solid, it was just absolutely crazy.
This is film 3.
What is your project within this project about?
Our project within this project is an animation on the mistreatment of like the Bowsers and whatnot that happened over the flooding.
Hi, I'm Will.
I'm Rachel and this is our flood animation.
So can you tell me about the flood?
Yeah, and I woke up and then my sister came down and then she said that the fish had gone. I was like, how can the fish be gone? There's water everywhere. And then my parents came in and they said, no, there's a flood outside. And I was like, but the fish is inside. And then they said, no, not about the fish. And I was like, what about the fish? And then talking about the fish, then we started going about...
Yeah, we got loads of time off school, which was really cool because of the floods, but it sucked, but yeah.
I think it was terrible.
I couldn't play my games machine.
Yeah, my skateboard got wet.
So how did that affect you?
My mum's got flooded, but my dad didn't.
And then the floods got worse, and then the water came through the letterbox, but not through the letterbox, through the bottom part. I can't remember what it's called, the bit below the door. And then
I woke up and it was flooded.
We lost the goldfish, and I was like, there's nothing to drink. And then they said that there's some...
There's the blue things that turned up.
Yeah, they were called Bowsers.
Oh, yeah, we just went to check out the Bowsers.
I heard someone peed in the Bowser. I mean, I ask you, who would do such a thing?
oh man, it's coming alive. Why do you have to go do that? Like, look at it. It's like it's all chasing us. And now, you're such an idiot. It's just, you can't catch me. And it's just not natural, you know. It's just, why is it doing that? And it's just, why did you pee in it? It's just such a bad idea. And I'm getting stitched. This is stupid. And like, Connor, man, you're such a loser.
So how were you able to drink?
They gave us some bottles of water to drink. I wonder what happened to those bottles.
Grr, why don't you all behave like sensible citizens?
Surprisingly, floods also affected people on higher ground.
But the water came off the hills and we had 6¼ inches, and that water just could not get away for all sorts of reasons.
Morton in Marsh.
This is something that was so rare, it's never ever happened in, I would say, at least the last 150 years.
A lot of the damage in Morton could have, in a way, been minimised if people had driven through really slow.
You do need to go to at a certain speed through it as a vehicle to get through it, indeed. But, you know, this is also a very selfish act through a built-up area. And I spent a lot of time in the afternoon trying to slow this down. I think it comes down to a basis of, you know, you've got a responsibility as a, you know, as a responsible person to stop people from hurting themselves, getting into danger and making the situation worse. I did a bit of a Tiananmen Square with one of the lorries coming southwards, and I stood and he blinked first. You know, I was so angry. I was prepared to get knocked over by him.
I think the sort of damage more around this area was with the real old buildings and the properties for a lot of businesses.
240 premises were damaged in the area. Our business here, we were, because we only got a little bit in, we'd moved all our stock, we cleared the carpets out, we were open on the Monday again.
Broughton on the Water.
I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and walked down my steps, because we live above the premises, to find myself standing in 2 feet of water, which was probably, I think, on a personal level, the most harrowing thing that ever happened to me in my life. And I froze mentally and physically.
And when I got here, the water was about 2 feet deep.
What got you moving again, and what was the next step that happened to you?
My feet got cold.
That's a silly question, sorry.
Keep that one in. And they do say before you die, your life flashes before you. What flashed before me was the future.
This was laid out as like a dining room with tables, chairs, carpets, rugs.
What was wonderful was that we found ourselves surrounded by at least a dozen youngsters with no shoes on and no socks on and wet clothing, and they were absolute Trojans. An awful lot said about youngsters nowadays and the trouble they get into. We were absolutely staggered. We didn't ask for it. We didn't go looking for it. They just turned up and took their jackets off and said, "Please, can we help?" And they worked for hours and hours and hours in dreadful conditions. Bless them.